Okay, can everybody see that? Yep, great. This is something I started doing last year, which is a once a month doing a teaching workshop for my clients. Just bear with me, another one's joining. So today we're going to talk about how to build a CEO dashboard for your business, how to identify some key KPIs to track, and how to actually manage that within your business. It's one of those areas that my clients, when they first join me, find very hard to get in place, and I can understand that, but the reality is we can make it simpler. If I can just jump in, what is a CEO dashboard? In my view, it's a group of KPIs for each aspect of the business, the key drivers of the parts of the business. It starts with evergreen metrics: revenue, profit margin, cash collected, revenue per employee, can be a number of others. It has a number, one or two only North Star metrics. I'm going to take you through that. And then for each business area of your business, two or three, no more. We're not looking for huge lists. Key KPIs for marketing, sales, technology, accounting, finance, people and culture, etc. Now I'm going to send you this spreadsheet, don't forget. What I do want you to focus on here, though, is if you can't measure it, you can't optimize it. If you can't measure it, you can't optimize it. So when we go back to the KPIs, we're not looking for people to come, your leadership team to come along on whatever day your leadership team sync meeting is and say, oh yeah, no, we're going okay. We're actually looking for them to come along and say, we've set the targets together. Here's how we're tracking towards the targets. Okay, so if you can't measure it, we can't optimize it. Best practices for company scorecards. Keep it simple. So many of my clients have come along and they've jumped into Salesforce and they've come up with so many different metrics to measure, and it just becomes unworkable, uncontrollable, and no one really knows what's going on. So keep it simple. Track it weekly. Weekly. Okay. Why? Because at the end of the month, if you look to track it at the end of the month, it's too far to gone. If you're off track, you can't bring it back. So weekly, and make it manual. And this is something that really people look at me and say, what? And I said, yeah, and the point I'm making here is that if you make your leaders and yourselves go up and literally in a spreadsheet or on a whiteboard or whatever way you want to do it, mark in how they've gone, what the status is, and comments, it gets in the brain and people start being held accountable. So first thing, identify the metrics. Okay. It's a hard thing to do. And I'm sure that anybody that's tried to do that on this call know it's really hard. So I'm going to give you a whole document on suggested KPIs for the different areas in the business. Second thing is, who is the owner of the metrics? And then what are we looking to achieve week on week? Thirdly, what's your monthly target? And this is the point I was making. Good is not subjective. We're looking for specific targets. From a sales, a BDM, or an account manager's role, how many real conversations did they have with your ICP, your ideal client profile, this week? And what was the target? Is it one per day? Well, we're looking for them to achieve one real deep conversation with one of your ideal client profiles every day. That means 5 a week. Okay. When they come and say, oh no, everything's good, That's not the answer we're looking for. And then the monthly actual and the status. Now, when it comes to, so when it comes to the status, we use red, yellow, green, and sometimes a separate color green, which is like a super green. Your job as a business owner is to turn projects that are red, turn them to yellow, and turn yellow projects to green. That's your job. Okay. Now, what is a red project? A red project is a project that is off track and where there's no plan to get it back on track. Okay, we're off track and there's no plan to get it back on track. A yellow status is where it's off track, but there is a plan to get it back on track, or at least some semblance of a plan. And of course, green is where it's on track. So going back, so remember I said about I'll just go back. We want to keep it simple. We want to track it weekly and we want to make it manual. What we're looking to do is that prior to your weekly leadership team sync, which if you're not having one of those, you should be. And if you want an agenda for that and what that would look like, please email me and I'll send that through to you. But we're looking for your leaders to complete, the status for the week prior to the weekly sync meeting. And we're also looking for them to fill in on the right-hand side, the notes. So we're looking for the actual number, the status, red, yellow, green, and the notes. And in those notes should be the plan for what is happening for all the red and yellow. The plan to get it back on track. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? All happy? Great. So, what's a North Star metric? Remember, if you look at the top, you've got the evergreen metrics of revenue, profit margin, cash collected, revenue per employee, etc. And then North Star metrics. So what's a North Star metric? A North Star metric is a single guiding metric that reflects the core value delivered to customers. It aligns around one primary goal, which helps to prioritize impactful work. And it focuses on long-term growth by centering on customer value. Okay. Why do we have one? Unifies the team, guides resources to high impact activities, and simplicity defines what winning looks like in the business. And can you have one? Ideally, you have one, more than one. Ideally, you have one for maximum clarity, but if needed, secondary metrics may track other areas like distinct product lines, that sort of thing. So what do they look like? Here's some examples. A story I was told years ago was about the Mormon Church. Now, I'm not religious, but there was a really interesting story about the North Star metric. The Mormon Church has a very high-powered board, including at the time the chair or the president and CEO of American Express. And when the board analyzed the North Star metrics, metric for the business, for the church and for the business, they came up with a metric of number of baptisms. And if you think what the North Star metrics are all about, it's about giving direction and define success through customer value, driving sustainability. And the number of baptism makes an enormous amount of sense because it's growing the engaged population of the church. So what do you reckon? Let's think about your businesses now. What do you reckon your North Star metric would be? John, you're looking to expand. What do you reckon? You're on mute.
For us, I guess properties sold or settled, businesses settled, finance deals settled. We're both looking at 3 settlement.
Okay.
We've got 3 avenues there.
Okay. Corinne, are you there? Oh no, we're not sure if we've got Corinne's microphone working. Hey Matt, do you want to join us and give us an idea what you think your North Star metric is?
Thanks very much, Jonathan. So I've got several different businesses that I'm the group CEO of, and we've all got different evening stars or North Stars. For a food and packaging business, what we track is our sales pipeline. So that's about focusing on sales efforts for our sales reps. We can't control what customers spend with us, but what we can control is the amount of sales calls and activities that each of the sales reps are making themselves. So it's about their efforts. For our property services business, it's about forward bookings. So just understanding basically the forward bookings for our accommodation and our hotels and apartments. And then we'll know what we're going to earn with really good accuracy about 3 months out. With our tire businesses, it's really about we focus on controlling our stock levels, because that assists us with our cash conversion cycles, our working capital and things like that. So we actually focus on making sure that we have our model stock for each of our stores exactly where it should be. And that's probably just a few examples of what we focus on primarily.
That's an eclectic group of companies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I've neglected to give you the workbook. I apologize. I've just pasted the workbook into the chat. So if you just see if you can open that up. Has that come through? Can someone open it? No? Alison not opening? No. Let's try that again. You're just coming in again now. Okay. Someone try opening that, please. Hopefully that will work now. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the actual workbook you're looking at now. So, your North Star metrics can be around customer growth. It can be around revenue, customer retention, customer engagement, operational efficiency, product or service quality, team performance. It's in my case, it's all about how long clients stay with me and how long they're actively engaged. I've got one client who's now been with me for 10 years. I've got my average client lifetime value of a client is a minimum 3 years, and that's one I track and keep an eye on. Obviously, that leads to the client satisfaction.